In a quiet little town in Ohio, where life moved at a slower pace and everyone knew each other by name, there lived a young man named Alex. He wasn't the kind of person who dreamed of fame or fortune. Instead, he was content with the simplicity of his daily routine. Every morning he woke up early, got dressed in his uniform, and headed to work at the local McDonald's. For Alex, flipping burgers, serving fries, and greeting customers with a polite smile was more than just a job. It was a way to stay busy and earn a steady paycheck. The McDonald's where Alex worked wasn't anything extraordinary. It was your typical fast food restaurant, with bright yellow arches outside and the smell of sizzling meat wafting through the air inside. But for Alex, it was a place where he felt comfortable. He knew the menu like the back of his hand, could handle rush hours without breaking a sweat, and always made sure every customer left satisfied. His coworkers liked him because he was easygoing and reliable. Sure, the job wasn't glamorous, but it gave him a sense of purpose. And that was enough for him. One evening, as the sun began to set and the sky turned shades of orange and pink, something unusual happened. The dinner rush was winding down and the restaurant was quieter than usual. Just as Alex was about to take a short break, the door swung open and a man walked in. At first glance, he looked like any other customer, wearing a simple jacket, jeans, and sneakers. But when Alex glanced up from the counter, his eyes widened in disbelief. Standing right in front of him was none other than Keanu Reeves, the Hollywood actor known for movies like The Matrix and John Wick. Alex froze for a moment, unsure if what he was seeing was real. He blinked a few times, thinking maybe he was imagining things. But no, it really was Keanu. The actor looked even more laid back and approachable in person than he did on screen. There was no entourage, no flashy car parked outside. Just Keanu standing there with a calm and friendly expression waiting to place his order. The other employees noticed too, whispering excitedly among themselves. A few customers even pulled out their phones to snap pictures discreetly. It wasn't every day that a celebrity walked into a small-town McDonald's. Alex tried to act cool, though his heart was racing. "Hi, welcome to McDonald's," he said, forcing himself to sound casual. Keanu smiled and stepped up to the counter. "Hey, I'll have a cheeseburger, fries, and a coffee, please," he said in his soft, unmistakable voice. Alex nodded, punching the order into the register. As he rang up the total, he couldn't help but marvel at how normal this whole interaction felt. Here was one of the most famous actors in the world, ordering food just like anyone else. It was surreal. While Alex prepared Keanu's meal, his mind raced with thoughts. Should he say something? Ask for a selfie? Or maybe just let the moment pass naturally? He didn't want to come off as pushy or disrespectful, but at the same time, he didn't want to miss this rare opportunity. When the order was ready, Alex carefully placed the items in a bag and handed them over. Keanu reached for his wallet, pulling out some cash to pay. That's when Alex hesitated. Something inside him stirred, a mix of admiration and gratitude for this humble celebrity standing before him. Before he fully understood what he was doing, Alex leaned forward slightly and said, "You know what? This one's on me." He quickly scribbled "on the house" on the receipt and slid it across the counter. Keanu raised an eyebrow, clearly surprised. "Are you sure?" he asked, his tone warm and appreciative. Alex nodded, feeling a surge of pride. "Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for stopping by." Keanu grinned, his dimples showing as he replied, "Thanks, man. I really appreciate it." With that, he grabbed his food and headed toward a nearby table. Alex watched him go, still buzzing from the encounter. He had just done something nice for someone he admired, and it felt amazing. Little did he know, this seemingly small act of kindness would soon spiral into something much bigger, and not entirely in a good way. As the night went on, Alex returned to his usual duties, occasionally glancing over at Keanu, who sat quietly, enjoying his meal. Customers continued to steal peeks at the actor, whispering about how cool it was to see him in such an ordinary setting. Everything seemed fine, until Alex's manager appeared. She had been in the back office during the exchange and only learned about the free meal when another employee mentioned it casually. Her face hardened as she approached Alex, her heels clicking against the tiled floor. "Alex, can I see you in the office for a moment?" she said sternly. Alex's stomach dropped. He followed her, already knowing what this was about. Once they were alone, she closed the door and turned to face him. "What were you thinking?" she demanded. "You know we can't give away free meals no matter who the customer is. Company policy is clear." Alex opened his mouth to explain, but the words caught in his throat. I thought it was a nice thing to do," he stammered. "He's Keanu Reeves, for crying out loud. He's so down to earth, and I wanted to show some appreciation." The manager shook her head. "I get it, Alex. I do. But rules are rules. We can't make exceptions, no matter how famous someone is. You've left me with no choice." Her voice softened slightly, but the finality in her tone was undeniable. "I'm sorry, but I have to let you go." Alex felt like the ground had been ripped out from under him. Fired? Over a free burger and fries? It didn't seem fair. He tried to argue, pleading his case and explaining that it was a one-time thing, but the decision had already been made. By the time he left the office, his uniform felt heavier than ever, and his chest tightened with a horrendous mix of embarrassment and anger. How could something so small lead to such a huge consequence? Word of Alex's firing spread quickly. Within hours, the story was all over social media, thanks to posts from coworkers and customers who had witnessed the incident. People were outraged, calling the punishment excessive and praising Alex for his gesture of goodwill. Some shared stories of their own experiences with rigid workplace policies, while others expressed sympathy for Alex, saying he didn't deserve to lose his job for doing something kind. The hashtag Justice for Alex started trending locally, and soon people from neighboring towns joined the conversation. Despite the online support, Alex felt defeated. Losing his job wasn't just about the loss of income, it was the blow to his confidence and sense of self-worth. For days he stayed cooped up in his apartment, replaying the events in his mind. Had he made a mistake? Was it wrong to bend the rules, even for a good reason? These questions haunted him, leaving him unsure of what to do next. But unbeknownst to Alex, the story was far from over. Something incredible was about to happen, something that would change his life in ways he never imagined. As the days passed, Alex found himself stuck in a cycle of frustration and self-doubt. He spent most of his time lying on the couch, staring at the ceiling, and wondering how things had gone so wrong. His phone buzzed constantly with notifications from social media, but he avoided looking at it. The outpouring of support felt overwhelming, and he didn't know how to respond. Instead, he kept replaying the moment when his manager handed down her verdict. "Rules are rules," she had said, as if that explained everything. But in Alex's mind, it didn't make sense. How could doing something nice be considered a fireable offense? His friends tried to cheer him up, stopping by his apartment with food or calling to check on him. They told him he'd done nothing wrong, that standing up for kindness was always the right thing to do. Some even joked about starting a GoFundMe page to help him get back on his feet. But Alex wasn't ready to laugh yet. He felt embarrassed, like everyone was watching him fail. What made it worse was knowing that Keanu Reeves, a man known for being humble and kind, had been part of the situation. Alex couldn't stop thinking about how he must have looked in front of someone so admired. Had Keanu thought less of him? After hearing about the fallout, the uncertainty gnawed at him. Meanwhile, the story continued to gain traction online. People from all over the country were sharing their thoughts, turning Alex's firing into a national conversation. News outlets picked up the story, framing it as an example of corporate rigidity clashing with human decency. Journalists reached out to Alex for interviews, but he declined every request. He didn't want to relive the humiliation or risk saying something that might make things worse. All he wanted was to fade into the background and forget the whole ordeal ever happened. But life had other plans. One evening, while scrolling through Twitter half-heartedly, Alex stumbled upon a tweet that stopped him in his tracks. Someone had tagged Keanu Reeves in a post about the incident, along with photos of Alex and the infamous receipt marked, "On the house." The tweet read, "Hey Keanu Reeves, did you hear about this guy who got fired for giving you free food? Seems unfair, doesn't it? At first, Alex assumed it was just another fan chiming in, but then he noticed Keanu's response. It was short, simple, and utterly unexpected. "Wow, that's not okay. I'll look into it." Alex stared at the screen, his heart racing. Did Keanu really mean it? Or was this just a polite reply meant to brush off the situation? He refreshed the page multiple times, convinced he was imagining things. But no, the comment was still there, plain as day. For the first time since losing his job, Alex felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, things weren't as hopeless as they seemed. The next morning, Alex woke up feeling slightly lighter. He decided to step outside for some fresh air, something he hadn't done in days. As he walked around town, he noticed people glancing at him, some whispering to each other. Normally, this would have made him uncomfortable, but today, it felt different. There was a sense of solidarity in the air, like the entire community was rooting for him. A woman at the grocery store even stopped him to say, "Don't give up, Alex, you did the right thing." Her words lingered in his mind long after he left the store. Later that afternoon, Alex received a message on his phone, an email notification. Curious, he opened it and saw the subject line, "A message from Keanu Reeves." His hands trembled as he clicked on the email. Inside was a brief note from Keanu himself, written in a tone that was both professional and warm. "Hi, Alex," it began. "I heard about what happened and I wanted to reach out directly. First, let me say thank you for your kindness that night. It meant a lot to me. Second, I'd love to talk more about this and see if there's anything I can do to help. Please let me know if you're available for a call or meeting soon." Alex read the email 3 times before it fully sank in. This wasn't a prank or a publicity stunt. Keanu genuinely cared about what had happened. Overwhelmed with emotion, Alex sat down at his kitchen table and drafted a reply. "Thank you so much for reaching out, Mr. Reeves," he wrote. "It means a lot to me. I'd be happy to talk whenever you're available." He hesitated for a moment, unsure if he should add anything else, but ultimately decided to keep it simple. After hitting send, he leaned back in his chair, letting out a deep breath. For the first time in days, he allowed himself to feel optimistic. Over the next few days, Alex waited anxiously for Keanu's response. In the meantime, he started tidying up his apartment, throwing away old takeout containers and organizing piles of clothes. It was as if preparing his physical space helped clear his mental clutter. He also began reflecting on the events leading up to his firing. While he still believed he'd done the right thing, he realized that maybe there was a lesson in all of this. Perhaps the experience was pushing him toward something bigger, something he hadn't considered before. Finally, the reply came. Keanu suggested they meet in person and invited Alex to visit him in Los Angeles. "Let's sit down and chat," the email read. "There's a project I've been working on that I think you might find interesting. Plus, it'll give us a chance to catch up properly." Alex blinked at the screen, stunned. Was this real life? He pinched his arm to make sure he wasn't dreaming. When reality confirmed itself, he quickly accepted the invitation, his excitement bubbling over despite lingering nerves. Booking the flight to LA felt surreal. Alex had never traveled anywhere glamorous before, let alone met a celebrity, face to face. As he packed his bags, he couldn't help but wonder what awaited him on the other side. Would Keanu live up to the reputation of being one of the nicest people in Hollywood? And what exactly was this mysterious project he mentioned? Questions swirled in Alex's mind, but beneath the uncertainty lay a growing sense of anticipation. Whatever happened next, he knew it would be unforgettable. On the day of his trip, Alex arrived at the airport early, clutching his ticket tightly as he navigated the bustling terminal. Flight attendants announced the boarding call. Alex couldn't shake off the feeling that he was stepping into a movie. He had never flown before, let alone to a place like Los Angeles. The idea of meeting Keanu Reeves in person still felt surreal, like something out of a dream. As the plane took off, Alex stared out the window, watching the small town he called home grow smaller and smaller until it disappeared beneath the clouds. For the first time in days, he felt a sense of possibility, a tiny spark of hope that maybe this trip would change everything. When Alex landed in LA, the warm California sun greeted him as he stepped off the plane. He grabbed his bag from the carousel and made his way outside, where a driver holding a sign with his name waited, patiently. "Mr. Alex?" the man asked with a polite smile. Alex nodded, feeling slightly out of place but grateful for the gesture. The drive to Keanu's location was smooth and quiet, giving Alex time to gather his thoughts. Palm trees lined the streets, and the city buzzed with energy, a stark contrast to the calm pace of his hometown. By the time they arrived at their destination, Alex's nerves were running high. Keanu greeted him warmly at the door, dressed casually in jeans and a t-shirt. There was no entourage, no flashy setup, just Keanu standing there with his signature easygoing demeanor. "Hey, Alex," he said, extending a hand. "Thanks for coming all the way out here." Alex shook his hand, surprised by how genuine and down-to-earth Keanu seemed in person. It wasn't just an act, it was who he truly was. They sat down together in a cozy living room filled with books, guitars, and photos on the walls. The atmosphere was relaxed, almost like they were old friends catching up after years apart. Over lunch, which Keanu insisted on making himself, they talked about life, dreams, and the challenges of staying true to oneself. Keanu shared stories from his own journey, how he started acting, the ups and downs of fame, and the lessons he learned along the way. He spoke openly about moments when he doubted himself or felt overwhelmed by expectations. "You know," Keanu said between bites, "life has a funny way of throwing curveballs at us. Sometimes those curveballs end up being blessings in disguise." Alex listened intently, hanging on to every word. It was inspiring to hear someone so successful talk about failure and resilience. He realized that Keanu wasn't just a Hollywood star. He was a human being who understood struggle and uncertainty. When the conversation shifted to Alex's situation, Keanu became serious. "What happened to you? It shouldn't have gone down like that," he said firmly. "Kindness shouldn't be punished. But I also think this could be an opportunity for you to explore something bigger, something meaningful." That's when Keanu dropped the bombshell. He offered Alex a chance to work with him on a new project aimed at helping underprivileged youth discover careers in entertainment. The initiative involved organizing workshops, mentoring kids, and even traveling across the country to spread awareness. Keanu explained that he had been looking for someone passionate and relatable to help lead the effort, and Alex's story resonated deeply with him. "I see potential in you," Keanu said earnestly, "and I believe you can make a real difference." Alex sat there stunned. His mind raced as he tried to process what Keanu was saying. Just weeks ago, he was flipping burgers and worrying about paying rent. Now he was sitting across from one of his idols, being offered a life-changing opportunity. Was this really happening? I don't know what to say," Alex stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. "This is incredible. Thank you so much." Keanu smiled, his dimples showing as he replied, "Don't thank me yet. This is going to take hard work, but I know you're up for it. You've already shown courage by standing up for what you believe, and that's exactly the kind of mindset we need for this project." Alex nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and responsibility wash over him. He knew this wouldn't be easy, but he also knew it was a chance he couldn't pass up. The rest of the day flew by in a blur. Keanu gave Alex a tour of the facilities where the project would take place, introducing him to the team working behind the scenes. Everyone was welcoming and supportive, making Alex feel like he belonged. By the time evening rolled around, his initial nervousness had faded, replaced by a growing sense of purpose. As he lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling of his hotel room, Alex reflected on how quickly his life had changed. Losing his job at McDonald's had felt like the end of the world, but now it seemed like the beginning of something far greater. Back home, news of Alex's meeting with Keanu began to spread. Someone leaked details of their collaboration online, sparking widespread excitement. Fans praised Keanu for using his platform to support others, while many expressed admiration for Alex's transformation. Messages poured in from strangers congratulating him on turning adversity into opportunity. Even local news stations picked up the story, calling Alex a symbol of resilience and kindness. The attention was overwhelming, but this time Alex didn't shy away from it. Instead, he embraced it, seeing it as a chance to inspire others facing similar struggles. With renewed determination, Alex threw himself into his new role. He spent hours learning about the entertainment industry, attending meetings, and brainstorming ideas for the project. Keanu remained a constant source of encouragement, checking in regularly to offer guidance and advice. Their unlikely friendship blossomed into something special, built on mutual respect and shared values. Alex often found himself marveling at how different Keanu was from the stereotypes of Hollywood stars. He was humble, thoughtful, and genuinely cared about making a positive impact. As weeks turned into months, Alex discovered talents he never knew he had. He excelled at connecting with people, especially the kids participating in the workshops. His ability to relate to their struggles and motivate them earned him praise from both colleagues and participants. One teenage girl whose dream was to become a filmmaker told Alex, "You remind me that anything is possible if you stay true to yourself." Her words stayed with him, reinforcing his belief in the power of kindness and authenticity. Word of Alex's success reached his hometown, where people celebrated his achievements with pride. Former coworkers from McDonald's sent messages of congratulations, telling him how proud they were of how far he'd come. Even his old manager reached out, apologizing for her role in his firing and wishing him well. Though Alex didn't hold any grudges, hearing her words brought a sense of closure. He realized that everyone makes mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes lead to unexpected opportunities. Looking back on his journey, Alex couldn't help but smile. What started as a simple act of kindness had snowballed into something extraordinary. He had gone from being a fired fast food worker to collaborating with a global icon on a project that inspired countless lives. Along the way, he learned valuable lessons about resilience, gratitude, and the importance of staying true to oneself. And though he still enjoyed grabbing a burger every now and then, he no longer worried about bending the rules. After all, sometimes breaking them leads to the most unforgettable adventures of all. As Alex settled into his new role, he quickly discovered that working with Keanu Reeves was unlike anything he had ever imagined. It wasn't just about the glitz and glamour of Hollywood or rubbing shoulders with celebrities. It was about creating something meaningful. Every day brought a new challenge, whether it was planning workshops, coordinating with schools, or finding ways to connect with kids who doubted their own potential. But Alex thrived in this environment. He poured his heart into every task, determined to make the project a success. One of the first things Alex noticed was how hands-on Keanu was. Despite his busy schedule, Keanu made time to attend meetings, review plans, and even participate in some of the workshops himself. Watching him interact with the kids was inspiring. Keanu didn't just show up to take photos or give speeches. He genuinely listened to their stories, shared advice, and encouraged them to chase their dreams. Alex realized that Keanu's humility wasn't an act. It was a core part of who he was. And seeing Keanu lead by example motivated Alex to step up his game. The workshops became the heart of the project. Held in community centers, schools, and even libraries, they gave kids a chance to explore different aspects of the entertainment industry. Some learned about filmmaking, while others tried their hand at acting, writing, or music production. Alex found his niche in mentoring. He loved sitting down with the participants, hearing about their passions, and helping them navigate challenges. Many of the kids reminded him of himself, young, uncertain, and searching for direction. By sharing his own story, including the ups and downs of losing his job and meeting Keanu, Alex showed them that setbacks could be stepping stones to something better. One particular workshop stood out to Alex. It took place in a small town not unlike the one where he grew up. The kids there were hesitant at first, unsure if they belonged in a program like this. But as the day went on, their confidence grew. A shy teenager named Mia caught Alex's attention. She barely spoke during the morning session, but when it came time to write a short script, she surprised everyone with her creativity. Her story was heartfelt and raw, drawing from her own experiences of feeling overlooked and underestimated. Afterward, Alex pulled her aside and told her how talented she was. "You have a gift," he said sincerely. "Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Mia's face lit up, and for the rest of the workshop she participated with newfound enthusiasm. Weeks later, Alex received a letter from her thanking him for believing in her. She wrote that his encouragement had inspired her to keep writing and dreaming bigger. Reading her words filled Alex with pride. He realized that his work wasn't just about teaching skills, it was about planting seeds of hope and possibility. While Alex focused on the project, life back home continued to change. The support he received from his community remained strong, and people often stopped him to ask how things were going. Friends joked that he was becoming a local celebrity himself, but Alex stayed grounded. He knew that none of this would have happened without the kindness of strangers, Keanu's generosity, and his own willingness to take a leap of faith. Whenever someone asked him for advice, he emphasized the importance of staying true to oneself. "Be kind even when it's hard," he'd say. "You never know where it might lead." Despite his growing responsibilities, Alex made time to reflect on how far he'd come. Late at night, after a long day of work, he'd sit by the window of his apartment in LA and think about the twists and turns of his journey. Firing from McDonald's had felt like the end of the world, but now it seemed like the beginning of a new chapter. He thought about the lessons he'd learned along the way, the value of taking risks, the power of human connection, and the importance of believing in oneself. These insights weren't just shaping his career, they were transforming him as a person. Keanu, too, played a pivotal role in Alex's growth. Their friendship deepened as they worked together, bonding over shared values and mutual respect. Keanu often reminded Alex to trust his instincts and embrace uncertainty. "Life is unpredictable," Keanu would say, "but that's what makes it beautiful. You've already proven you can handle whatever comes your way." Those words stuck with Alex, giving him the courage to tackle challenges head-on. As the project gained momentum, media outlets began covering its impact. Stories of kids discovering their passions and overcoming obstacles captured hearts across the country. Journalists praised Keanu and Alex for their dedication, highlighting the positive ripple effect of their efforts. For Alex, the attention was humbling. He never sought fame or recognition, but he understood the importance of using his platform to inspire others. During interviews, he always credited Keanu for believing in him and thanked the kids for reminding him why the work mattered. Traveling became a regular part of Alex's routine. From bustling cities to quiet rural towns, he visited places he'd only seen on maps. Each location brought unique challenges and rewards, further fueling his passion for the project. Along the way, he met incredible people, teachers, parents, and mentors who shared his vision of empowering the next generation. These connections reinforced his belief in the power of collaboration and the strength of community. Back in Ohio, Alex's hometown celebrated his achievements with pride. Local businesses hosted fundraisers to support the project, and schools invited Alex to speak during assemblies. When he returned home for visits, people treated him like a hero, though Alex insisted he was just doing what felt right. "This isn't about me," he'd say. "It's about giving kids a chance to shine." His humility only endeared him more to those around him. Through it all, Alex remained grateful for the chain of events that led him here. What started as a simple act of kindness, comping Keanu's meal, had spiraled into a life-changing adventure. He often thought about how differently things could have turned out if he hadn't taken that risk. Would he still be flipping burgers at McDonald's, wondering what might have been? Or would he have found another path eventually? Either way, he knew he wouldn't trade this experience for anything. By the time the project marked its one-year anniversary, Alex felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had grown in ways he never anticipated, both personally and professionally. More importantly, he had made a real difference in the lives of countless kids. Watching them discover their talents and pursue their dreams reminded him of why he started this journey in the first place. Kindness, he realized, wasn't just a fleeting gesture. It was a catalyst for change. As Alex looked ahead, he knew there was still much work to be done. The project was expanding, reaching more communities and inspiring more young minds. With Keanu by his side, He felt ready to tackle whatever came next. Together, they were proving that even the smallest acts of goodwill could spark movements, far greater than themselves. And for Alex, that was the greatest reward of all. As the project entered its second year, Alex found himself stepping into a leadership role he never imagined he'd hold. What started as a collaboration with Keanu Reeves had evolved into something much bigger, a nationwide initiative that touched lives in ways Alex could barely comprehend. The workshops, once small gatherings in community centers, had grown into large-scale events attended by hundreds of kids, parents, and educators. Local governments and businesses began partnering with the program, providing funding and resources to ensure its success. For Alex, this newfound responsibility was both thrilling and daunting. One of the biggest challenges was managing the logistics. With so many moving parts, scheduling, travel, materials, and volunteers, Alex had to learn how to delegate tasks and trust others to help carry the load. At first, it felt strange handing off responsibilities. He was used to doing everything, himself, from organizing schedules to troubleshooting last-minute issues. But Keanu reminded him that leadership wasn't about controlling every detail. It was about empowering others. "You can't do it all alone," Keanu said during one of their late-night brainstorming sessions. "Let people step up. That's how you build something sustainable." Taking Keanu's advice to heart, Alex started leaning on his team more. He discovered that many of them were eager to contribute ideas and take ownership of different aspects of the project. A young graphic designer named Clara, for example, came up with creative promotional materials that caught the attention of schools and media outlets. Another team member, Marcus, developed a system to track participants' progress, ensuring no one fell through the cracks. Slowly but surely, Alex realized he didn't have to shoulder the burden alone. Together, they were creating something extraordinary. The impact of the project became undeniable as stories of transformation poured in. One boy named Jamal, who had struggled with self-confidence, discovered a passion for filmmaking and went on to win a local contest with his short documentary. A girl named Sophia, who dreamed of becoming a screenwriter, wrote a script that was picked up by a production company. These successes weren't just individual victories, they were proof that the program was making a real difference. Each story fueled Alex's determination to keep pushing forward. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. There were moments of frustration and doubt, especially when things didn't go as planned. During a workshop in Chicago, a sudden snowstorm forced the event indoors, leaving organizers scrambling to rearrange everything at the last minute. In another instance, a key sponsor pulled out unexpectedly, leaving a funding gap that threatened to derail an entire leg of the tour. Through these setbacks, Alex learned resilience. He reminded himself of the lessons he'd picked up along the way. Stay calm, adapt quickly, and focus on solutions rather than problems. Keanu remained a constant source of support, often stepping in to lend a hand or offer encouragement when Alex needed it most. Whether it was joining a video call to boost morale or personally reaching out to secure new sponsors, Keanu's involvement kept the momentum going. But what impressed Alex most was how Keanu treated everyone with respect and kindness, regardless of their role in the project. From interns to high-profile executives, Keanu made time to listen and connect. Watching him lead with humility inspired Alex to adopt the same approach. As the project gained national recognition, Alex faced a new challenge, balancing visibility with authenticity. Media requests poured in, asking him to appear on talk shows, podcasts, and panels. While Alex appreciated the opportunity to spread awareness, he worried about losing sight of the project's mission. He didn't want to become a public figure. For the sake of fame, he wanted to use his voice to uplift others. To stay grounded, he set boundaries. Instead of accepting every invitation, he prioritized opportunities that aligned with the program's goals, such as speaking at conferences focused on youth empowerment or participating in interviews that highlighted participants' stories. Despite the growing demands, Alex made sure to carve out time for himself. He knew that burnout was a real risk, especially given the intensity of his schedule. On weekends, he'd take long walks along the beach near his apartment, letting the sound of the waves clear his mind. Sometimes he'd call his mom back in, Ohio, sharing updates and laughing over old memories. These moments of quiet reflection helped him recharge and refocus on what truly mattered. Back in his hometown, Alex's journey continued to inspire those around him. Friends and family marveled at how much he had grown, not just professionally but personally. His younger cousin, Emma, looked up to him as a role model, often telling her friends, "My cousin Alex is changing the world." Even former co-workers from McDonald's reached out to congratulate him, saying how proud they were of what he had accomplished. Though Alex appreciated the praise, he never lost sight of where he came from. He often reminded himself that his roots, his struggles and triumphs, were what shaped him into the person he was today. By the end of the second year, the project had reached thousands of kids across the country. Schools reported increased interest in arts programs, and enrollment in creative fields surged. Teachers praised the workshops for sparking curiosity and confidence in students who previously doubted their abilities. Parents thanked Alex and his team for giving their children hope and direction. The feedback was overwhelming, but it also reinforced the importance of continuing the work. During a celebratory dinner marking the project's 2-year milestone, Keanu raised a toast to Alex. "None of this would have been possible without your hard work and dedication," he said, looking directly at Alex. "You've shown us what's possible when we believe in people and give them a chance to shine." Alex felt tears welling up in his eyes. He stood up, holding his glass, and addressed the room. "Thank you all for believing in me and supporting this vision," he said, his voice steady despite the emotion swelling inside him. "This isn't my story, it's ours. Together we're proving that kindness and opportunity can change lives." That night, as Alex walked home under the starlit sky, he reflected on how far he'd come. From being fired for a simple act of generosity to leading a movement that inspired countless lives, his journey had been anything but ordinary. Yet, through every twist and turn, he had stayed true to himself. He realized that success wasn't measured by titles or accolades. It was about making a meaningful impact. And for Alex, there was no greater reward than knowing he had helped others discover their potential. Looking ahead, Alex knew the road wouldn't always be easy. There would be more challenges, more sacrifices, and more moments of uncertainty. But he was ready. With Keanu by his side, a dedicated team behind him, and a clear sense of purpose guiding him, he felt equipped to face whatever lay ahead. The project was no longer just a dream. It was a reality, one that continued to grow and evolve with each passing day. As Alex drifted off to sleep that night, he smiled, knowing that the best was yet to come. As the project entered its third year, Alex noticed a shift, not just in the scope of the initiative but in how it was shaping him. He had always thought of himself as an ordinary guy who stumbled into extraordinary circumstances, but now he began to see himself differently. The countless hours spent mentoring kids, organizing events, and collaborating with Keanu had taught him skills he never imagined he'd possess. Leadership, resilience, and creativity became second nature to him. More importantly, he learned to trust not only others but also himself. The program's success caught the attention of influential figures beyond Keanu Reeves. Directors, producers, and even politicians reached out, eager to support or partner with the initiative. One notable collaboration came from a renowned film studio that offered scholarships to participants interested in pursuing careers in entertainment. For many kids, this was a life-changing opportunity, a chance to turn their dreams into reality. When the first group of scholarship recipients was announced, Alex stood backstage watching as they walked onto the stage to accept their awards. Tears streamed down his face as he realized the magnitude of what they had built together. But with growth came challenges. As the project expanded, so did the expectations. Fundraising became more complex, requiring Alex to navigate meetings with corporate executives and pitch ideas to potential donors. At first, these high-stakes conversations intimidated him. He worried about saying the wrong thing or coming across as inexperienced. Yet each time he stepped into a boardroom, he reminded himself of why he was there: to create opportunities for kids who might otherwise be overlooked. That sense of purpose gave him confidence, and soon, he found his voice. By speaking authentically and sharing heartfelt stories, he won over skeptics and secured vital funding. Keanu remained deeply involved, though his role evolved as well. With filming commitments pulling him in different directions, he couldn't attend every event or meeting. Still, he made sure to stay connected, checking in regularly via phone calls or video chats. On several occasions, he surprised participants by showing up unannounced at workshops, bringing joy and excitement to everyone present. His unwavering commitment to the cause reinforced Alex's belief in the power of teamwork. Together, they proved that no dream was too big when people worked toward a common goal. One of the most memorable moments of the year occurred during a workshop in New York City. A teenage boy named Ethan, who had been quiet and reserved throughout the program, delivered a speech that left the entire room in awe. Standing nervously behind the microphone, Ethan shared how the workshops had given him hope after years of feeling invisible. "Before this," he said, his voice trembling but determined, "I didn't think anyone cared about what I wanted to do. But now I know I can make something of myself." As applause erupted, Alex looked around the room and saw tears streaming down faces, young and old alike. It was moments like these that reminded him why every challenge was worth it. Despite the victories, Alex faced personal struggles too. The relentless pace of work sometimes left him exhausted, both physically and emotionally. There were days when self-doubt crept in, whispering that maybe he wasn't cut out for this kind of responsibility. During those times, he leaned on Keanu, his team, and his loved ones for support. His mom often called to remind him of his strengths, telling him, "You've got this, Alex, don't forget where you started." Her words grounded him, helping him push through the tough days. By the end of the third year, the project had transformed into a nationwide movement. Schools incorporated elements of the workshops into their curriculums, and communities rallied around the idea of empowering young minds. Local chapters sprang up in cities across the country, allowing more kids to benefit from the program. The ripple effect was undeniable. Teachers reported higher engagement in classrooms, parents saw renewed confidence in their children, and participants spoke passionately about pursuing their passions. During a special anniversary event celebrating the project's impact, Alex took the stage to address the crowd. Thousands of people filled the auditorium, including kids, families, educators, and supporters. As he looked out at the sea of faces, he felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. 3 years ago, he began, his voice steady despite the emotion bubbling inside. "I was just a guy working at McDonald's trying to get through the day. I never imagined my life would take such an incredible turn. But here we are today, standing together because of one simple truth: kindness matters." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. This journey hasn't been easy. There have been setbacks, doubts, and moments when I wondered if we could keep going. But every time I met a kid whose eyes lit up with possibility, every time I heard a story of someone discovering their passion, I knew we were doing something important. This isn't about me. It's about all of us. Together, we're proving that opportunity changes lives. The audience erupted into applause, standing to cheer for Alex and the movement he helped create. Among them was Keanu, clapping enthusiastically and smiling with pride. After the speech, Keanu approached Alex backstage and pulled him into a hug. "You've done something truly amazing," Keanu said softly, "and you've only scratched the surface." Those words stayed with Alex long after the event ended. They reminded him that while the project had achieved remarkable success, there was still so much more to accomplish. New goals emerged, expanding internationally, reaching underserved rural areas, and creating online platforms to make resources accessible to even more kids. Each new challenge excited him, fueling his determination to keep pushing boundaries. Back in Ohio, Alex's hometown celebrated his achievements once again. The local newspaper ran a feature story titled "From Fries to Fame: How Alex Changed Lives," highlighting his journey from being fired at McDonald's to becoming a national figure. Friends and neighbors gathered at a community center to watch a live stream of the anniversary event, cheering loudly whenever Alex appeared on screen. It was a moment of collective pride, proof that anyone could rise above adversity with courage and perseverance. In quieter moments, Alex reflected on the lessons he had learned along the way. He realized that life rarely followed a straight path. It zigzagged, twisted, and turned unexpectedly. Losing his job had felt like the end of the world, but it had actually been the beginning of something far greater. Every setback, every risk, and every act of kindness had led him to this point. And, while he still enjoyed grabbing a burger every now and then, he no longer worried about bending rules or taking chances. After all, sometimes breaking them opened doors you never knew existed. As Alex looked ahead to the future, he felt a deep sense of purpose. The project wasn't just a job. It was a calling, a mission to inspire and uplift others. With Keanu by his side, a dedicated team behind him, and a growing network of supporters, he knew they could achieve anything they set their minds to. Together, they had proven that even the smallest acts of generosity could spark movements far bigger than themselves. And so, Alex continued forward, driven by the belief that kindness, opportunity, and hard work could change the world, one life at a time.